On the funding, when you speak about how you guys didn't get funding, people would like to know where you guys get money from. And I don't know if you'd like to clarify the story of Adriano Mazotti and his link to the EFF, because there's been a lot of criticism whenever you guys get questioned about Adriano Mazotti, his role in the EFF, at least financially, and where you guys get money from.
Look, the EFF draws its income from constituency funds. So the IEC and legislatures and parliament give a large amount of money to political parties, by the way. Like, you'd be very surprised, like millions.
You can't tell us how much you guys got?
No. You can look it up. It should be public knowledge. Actually.
I don't think it's public knowledge, but I think there's over $1 billion, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. Yeah. That was given to political parties that were existing, at least.
Yeah. We get allocations every quarter, if I'm not mistaken, of amounts from constituency funds of parliament, provincial legislatures, and from the IEC as well, based on the electoral performance that you got, that determines the amount that you get as well. So that sustains our offices, our staff complement, and supplements the money that pays for our programs as well. We've got merchandising, we've got membership fees. So that is the core of the funding for the EFF. And a lot of people think that what we do is extravagant. There's nothing extravagant about anything that the EFF does. It's quite affordable if you look at the amounts that we receive in terms of funding from legislatures of South Africa. And to talk to Adriano Mazotti's relationship with the EFF began and ended when he gave us the money to register with the IEC back in 2014. That is when it started, and that is when it ended. That's the only money that Adriano Mazotti has contributed to the EFF, and we've always been open and public about that. But because that was the foundational money of the EFF in terms of becoming a political party that contests elections, no one wants to let go of him as a figure. Yeah. And they want to consistently portray him as someone who funds the EFF. He doesn't. He doesn't give anything to the EFF in terms of money. That was the money he gave when we were registering the political party, and that's where it ended. And we continue to appreciate him. I mean, he's not convicted for any crime. So I don't know why there's any expectation of us to distance ourselves from him. And we're not going to do so. So we're thankful for that money because it built this movement that we see here today that is fighting for African people.
How much did he give you guys money, and do you know why he's not contributing anymore?
Look, it's the registration fee for political parties. I don't know how much it is now. I think it was around 250,000 to register a political party. I'm sure it's increased now. But if my figure is not mistaken, around there to register the EFF with the IC, it's a costly amount of money. So even that creation of political parties we saw in 2024, where there were so many political parties contesting, they got money somewhere, a large amount of money to register the political party itself. But it's ended there. Like there was no need for him to give us money moving forward.
Wouldn't you guys like him to give you money? I mean, let's say he watches this episode. It's like, if these guys want money, guys, I've got money. Don't be scared of me.
Look, it's up to him. I don't know why he doesn't give money anymore, but it's up to him. And we certainly would not reject it. I don't think we'd reject it.
Are there any other big funders? I think, I stand to be corrected by you, Untate Patrice Motsepe has donated to the ANC, the DA, and I think you guys. And I think the Freedom Front Plus as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he does that every election. Yeah, he just donates. I think he must be encouraged to donate to the IEC has a sort of collective pool where donors can throw money in and then it's distributed to political parties. I think if he doesn't want his name to be controversial, he must just do that. I think he must be encouraged to donate to the IEC has a sort of collective pool where donors can throw money in and then it's distributed to political parties. I think if he doesn't want his name to be controversial, he must just do that.
I don't think he minds his name being seen, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's doing it for business reasons.
Yeah, he says
if ever the EFF takes over power, it's like, but guys, I also donated to you. I wasn't hostile.
He says it's in support of democracy, but there's a democracy fund where you can put all the money. So I think to avoid his name constantly being in political conversations, it would be best for him to do that. I'm not saying he should, but he gives money to everyone.
But you guys would accept money from anyone who believes in your cause?
Not anyone. It depends who. I mean, I don't expect Rupert to believe in our cause, and I don't expect us to.
But you take his money?
Him. No, we wouldn't.
Why not?
Rupert gives money with conditionalities, and individuals like Rupert, when they give you money, they place certain conditionalities on what you must do once they've given you money. I think the Democratic Alliance is trapped in a very nefarious relationship with capital and the people who have funded them. Because within them now, if you look at this GNU, the ANC is passing legislation that the DA thought it would stop when it was in the cabinet and within ministries. And there's a big push internally that let's pull out of this thing because it's going to politically compromise us going into elections in 2026. I mean, their core constituency is against the Bella Act, is against the NHI, is against the Expropriation Act.
Yes.
And they can't pull out because capital is invested in Cyril Ramaphosa as the president of South Africa. And if the DA pulls out of that national government of national unity, it poses a huge risk to Cyril Ramaphosa. But secondly to that, it poses a huge risk that the EFF will enter. So they are just told to accept whatever legislative steps that are being taken by the ANC that are opposed to their core values because capital has a vested interest in stopping the EFF from entering, but also in retaining Ramaphosa there as a president. So I think we can't take money from people like your Johan Rupert's and individuals of that of your Nicky Oppenheimers, because their money comes with compromising conditionalities. And anyone who supports the DA and wonders why they're not getting out of the GNU, you must know that they ate wrong money, and it's placed them in a very difficult situation where they have to stick it out, whether they politically believe in it or not.
If Rupert doesn't give conditions, you take the money.
Let me not answer that. I don't think we take his money either way, man. He's an individual who's diametrically opposed to what the EFF stands for.
Sure.
I don't foresee that ever being possible. Like, he wouldn't
Maybe he'll donate like Mutsip and say in the spirit of democracy.
No, he doesn't believe in us. He hates us. Johan Rupert despises the EFF, and I think the feeling is mutual. There's no situation.
Yes. I want to read a bit from this article. This is iol.co.za, to what you were speaking about. This is how much parties received from the IEC ahead of the 2024 elections. It was written by Usiyabonga Mkhwanazi. This is April 22nd last year, 2024. Just briefly, the IEC allocates millions of rands to all parties represented in Parliament and provincial legislatures every year. In the report tabled in Parliament on parties represented in the National Assembly, the ANC received 148 million rand from the Commission. The IEC gave the DA, which is the second largest party at the time, 62.7 million rand. And then the Economic Freedom Fighters, which had 44 members in the National Assembly, received 40.9 million rand. Inkatha Freedom Party received 14.6. The Freedom Front Plus at the time received 19.5. The UDM 6.4. The National Freedom Party 6.1. COPE at the time 4.4 million. They put ATM 7.8. 5.2 million to Al Jamaa. So to what you were saying, some of the money that the EFF uses to run is money from the IEC that is given to parties anyways. Okay, no, thank you for that. I just wanted that clarity. Spoke about Mazotti, you spoke about money. The monarchies is one of the things that you mentioned. You guys were in the news at some point going to hand over, I think it was a car and maybe cattle to the Zia King
Welekai
of Abatembu.
Yes.
And you're speaking about how Eswatini, they're violating people's rights. Some people want democracy. Why would you guys do something like that? What role do you see kings and chiefs playing in South Africa in the future?
Very important role. Because we believe that the fight that we're fighting against domination of African people by a minority is not one that starts through a political process. I mean, kings fought against the invasion of their lands and the dispossession of their lands and the killing of and enslavement of their people. So the fight against colonial domination and conquest is rooted in kings and queens and traditional leadership in not only South Africa, but the entire continent. So they play a huge and important role as custodians of our culture, custodians of our traditions, not only in terms of tradition itself, but the tradition of resistance against domination. So they play that a very important historical role in our society that we must never let go of. But they also play a role of maintaining and sustaining a lot of our communities. A lot of our communities reside on communal land. They reside through communal beliefs and communal values that are enshrined in many of our cultures, where the people know your neighbor will never go hungry if you live under the kingship or the chieftainship of a certain tribe.
They shouldn't go hungry.
They shouldn't.
Yeah, because a lot of them go hungry and they come and become Omanchingelani here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they maintain a lot of our communities that are neglected by formal and modernized society, that are neglected by government. In your rural areas, a lot of the sustenance and political systems that are running those communities and keeping them stable, keeping crime out, are ran through those traditional systems. So they play that important role.